Hello and welcome to the wildcard draft, the early edition at the start of the international break. It is active, so I'm actually doing this for real. So unlike other content creators that wasted it in game week 6, I've held on to it to game week 12. And hopefully, if you've done the same and you are wildcarding this week, hopefully I can provide you with some sound advice and strategy for using the chip this particular game week. So without further ado, this is Fantasy Premier League, the D Unit's journey, and this is the D Unit using his first wildcard for the season in game week 12 and my line of thinking behind it. Let's jump straight into it. Alright, so as I said in my previous video, I'm actually on school camp at the moment, which is why the audio and the video quality is not as good, but I'm hopefully going to be able to provide this in a bit more context early on for you guys before I do my late edition next week, where I will be at home and I'll be back on the good equipment as it usually is, and hopefully the transitions are a lot more smooth than these have been. But without further ado, if you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new, particularly if you're getting good advice about this. If you want to get involved in the WhatsApp group chat, it is free. The link is in the description. Again, appreciate it if you do join and join the chat. We are there to help you and throw your ideas about, and we love people getting involved. And if you want to join the league code as well and take us all on, the league code is there also in the description, so please check that out and please join. So my team, obviously I'm sitting pretty comfortably top 169,544 teams, so a pretty good position to be in when you're using your first wild card. This should hopefully enable me to move up the ranks, which is the whole idea behind it. Now, my team doesn't need massive fixing. But there's things that I've been wanting to address for a few weeks now that I'm probably going to address in this particular game week and using my wildcard to fix some of these mistakes. Now, obviously, my Dominic Solanke 1 week puncture, as I covered in yesterday's video, was no good. If you want to listen about the whole disaster class that was and how I should have gone Bruno Fernandes instead, then you can check that out. That video, all you have to do is look at my page and you'll find it. But when you go to wildcarding, and this is obviously my squad at the moment, you can see there, I can tell you the players that will not be making this draft 100%. FaZe won't be making it, Justin won't be making it, McNeil won't be making it, Turner won't be making it. Solanke is 100% gone. He is never back in my team ever again. Rogers is not going to be making it either, I don't believe. He's definitely not, because I've already got rid of him. Alexander-Arnold, at this particular moment, he's not in. David Raya at the moment is also not in. The ones that are definitely staying are Mo Salah, Cole Palmer, Ait-Nouri, probably Robinson, Cunha's 100% staying, and Chris Wood might actually get the chop as well. And Brian Mbomo, sorry, he's 100% staying. Now, the reason why, and I'm going to quickly show you up here, there's a couple of things to keep in mind when you are wildcarding. I mentioned this in an earlier video, but it's very important because I have to keep reminding myself of this, is team value. You can see there, I'm on 103 million.9 team value after game week 11. Fantastic. It's actually probably gone a little bit up, and you'll see all the changes I've already made, and this is not the team I'm going to be picking. So I'm just going to show you why I've done it, and you've got to be across this. You've got to be hot, looking at players that are going up in price, going up in value. There is some money to be made, and like a lot of content creators will tell you, you don't play wildcard to make money, and I'm not playing my wildcard to make money. However, since it's over an international break and there's 2 weeks, there is potentially a chance to make some money on players that I do not want, and there is nothing wrong with trying to make the money on those players when you then ship them out for a player that you do want. Now, the only caveat is if there's a player that is going to go up in price and you do want in your team, and he's only probably going to go up once, you probably want to get him in before he changes in price. That is my only caveat to this strategy. So when we go to my team here, you can see the players that are currently sitting in my team. Now, I have 5.5 million of unspent budget in here, and there's a reason for that as well. And a lot of that will probably be going on Chris Wood in a second. Now, as you can see here, I got in Kelleher, Fabianski, Virgil van Dijk, Diego Dalot, Lewis Hall. All of these players, other than Fabianski, have risen in price already. So a lot of these ones may not actually make the final cut, but they are well on track. And if other people get on board, that means they're likely to rise again and make me 0.1, and then I can ship them off, and I've actually made some money out of these players without ever actually having them in my team. And also because of the fact you've got 2 weeks to do this, you can get a bit creative which is exactly what I've done here. I've literally put in players that I don't have to worry about, and will 100% change. There's no way I'm going to take in this team into my final team selection. However, it's very good for understanding the process behind it. So I've also bought in Semenyo, who's also gone up in price in the midfield, and I've bought in Bruno Fernandes, who's also gone up in price in the midfield. Also, just a shout out to Let's Talk FPL. I don't actually watch his stuff. However, I do know that people have been raging on him about Bruno Fernandes all season long, and he's come good, and I'm 100% probably going to pick him at this particular moment in time over Bakary Saka, because I think that Bruno Fernandes is back, and I think Man United under Amorim could be a completely different beast. I'm just not sure on Dalot. He's only in there because he's risen in price. He's Portuguese. Maybe he gets some of Amorim. I'm not sure. But you'd think that potentially moving forward, he's going to be really good. And will take up one of those wing-back spots, which hopefully means he gets more attacking returns, and hopefully they're a bit more solid behind. So I can understand why people are hopping on both him and Mazraoui. But however, I think there's only one of them that will actually end up playing in the team long-term, because I think that Garnacho or Ahmad or someone like that will be turned into the other wing-back on the other side. That's my personal thoughts. That's what I think. João Pedro is in. He hasn't risen in price. Sorry, I'm a bit sick as well at the moment. João Pedro has not risen in price. However, it's highly likely that he is going to go for Isaac, who looks like he's about to rise in price over the next 2 days, if João Pedro doesn't catch him in the meantime. I'm surprised he isn't rising as quickly as Danny Welbeck is, because of the fact that João Pedro actually got 11 points on the weekend off the bench. Now, people might be concerned about his 90 minutes, and yes, I'm concerned about that too, but if he's back, if he's on the field, he will be taking the penalties, and he's been looking good whenever he has played for Brighton this season, and he's 5.4 million. He's such a budget enabler. There's nothing not to like there. So, to look into the team value thing, all we have to do here is go to the list. Now, from here, you can see the purchase price that I bought them for, and then you can see the selling price, which is right next door, and then the current price that they are is on the left. Now, the reason why certain players have not been moved out of my team is because it would not be beneficial to move them out, and I would lose a lot of team value. So, for example, 8 Nori, I bought at 4.4, and he's up to 4.7. Now, I could only sell him for 4.5, so I'd be losing 0.2 million of team value if I just sold him now. It'd be better for him to wait to see if he gets to 4.8, and if I didn't want him, to sell him then for 4.6, because remember, for every 0.2 million a player goes up from the starting price, you get to sell them for 0.1 more. Now, Cole Palmer obviously went down. He's one player that's actually dropped in price for me this season, that when I've actually had them, but I believe he'll go back up. A lot of people obviously just thought he wasn't going to play against Arsenal. He did, but the Chelsea run now starts. If you haven't hopped on a Cole Palmer, he is definitely 100% going to burn you. There's no way that he does not stay in my team post this thing. As you can see there, I bought in Mo Salah. I actually sold him when he started dropping in price. I actually sold him for 12.6, and I bought him back in for 12.6. So he actually has made me 0.1 million in terms of transfer fee when I've sold him this year. He will not be leaving. And as you can see there, he's worth 12.9. Now, up front, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. And Brian Mbeumo there, unfortunately, I didn't get him when he was 7 or 7.1. I got him when he was 7.2. But if he makes it to 8, I could technically sell him for 7.6 if I think his form's going to dive off a cliff. I don't think it is. I think Brian Mbeumo is a long-term keep, but that's something to keep in mind. Now, Chris Wood. Now, everyone knows that I've loved the Woody the Woodpecker, and I've talked about him for 11 game weeks straight, and this will make it game week 12. However, he may not make it into my team for game week 12. Ideally, if there is a time to sell him, I can't believe I'm saying this, Chris Wood, and you'll probably burn my ass for saying this, and you won't let me win your signed shirt, which I'm trying to win, in that competition that the FPL are running. But he has maybe 0.3 million if I sell him now for the season. And there are other strikers that cost less than 6.3 million that I think are really good value, and I think are going to perform better than him moving forward over the coming game weeks. For one, Evalinson from Bournemouth. I really like the look of him, and there is a good chance that Chris Wood becomes him, or he becomes Isaac from Newcastle. It all depends on two things, and I'm not sure what method I want to go with at the moment, but I'm going to show you them both, what it looks like, and whether I can actually afford to do it. So without further ado, let's hop into the team bit and see exactly what I'm trying to do. So I want to get 2 Arsenal defenders, and I'd quite like 2 Liverpool defenders as well, and this will determine a lot of whatever else I can do. So we go here. I still think that David Raya is the keeper I want to keep. I just think that hopefully he's going to drop in price, and I'm actually going to make 0.1 out of him because I sold him at 5.6 for Kelleher. Sorry, I do apologise for this cough. It is actually driving me insane. It's probably driving you all insane as well because I keep doing it. So David Raya there. And then I'm not sure what I want to do here. Hall I really like because the Newcastle fixture run does actually look quite juicy. I'm not convinced on the Man United defence, which is why Dallo is probably going to get the chop. So I still really like the idea of Trent. However, he is injured at the moment, and that concerns me moving forward. So I'm probably just going to bring in Gabriel here, Gabriel, add him. So I've got 3.3 left in the bank there. I then want to have Isaac. So I feel like Chris Wood, I hate to say this, Woody, but he's 100% gone. So we're going to go into the forwards. Oops. And we're going to find Isaac. Now, I really like Isaac's run, and I'm going to go over these things in a little bit of detail in a second. So Isaac's there. Now, I'm not sure about João Pedro, but I really like him balancing. And I'm going to just going to pull him up so people can see what I'm waffling on about here. As you can see there, his fixtures the last 4 have been amazing. He's scored 3 goals and got an assist in his last 4 games. And he's played Man City, Arsenal, Aston Villa, and Brentford in that time. That is not an easy run of fixtures, and he has done super well. And he looks like he's finally found his feet. Now, his next lot of fixtures are pretty juicy. He's got a lot of nice looking teams there, a lot of green, and he's someone that will definitely be showing up in the differential video this week. So keep your eye out for that. But he is 100% someone I want, and I think that potentially João Pedro doesn't make the cut because Cunha's definitely making it. Now, it all comes down to what I want to do. So if Valenson can be there, and then I've got a little bit of money still to play. We've got 0.7. And this is where it gets a little bit complicated because I'm not 100% sure what I want to do. So I like the Fulham run, and Robinson's made me a bit of value, but he potentially might go because, as I said, I really like that Newcastle run, and I'll just pull it up here so people can see what it looks like. Alright, my internet's not loading very well because obviously I'm running this off my phone. But the Newcastle run looks really good, and I think there's clean sheets in there. They've got a lot of the promoted teams, and they've got West Ham and Crystal Palace. So I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of clean sheets, and hopefully a few attacking returns for Hall in the Newcastle defence. Touchwood. And he's also a great value at 4.3 million. Cheaper than the 4.5. That's exactly what you want. Now, in terms of this defender, as I said, I really want 2 Liverpool defence and I want 2 Arsenal defence. So Canade there probably gets the nod. Now, ideally, you're going to line up here in a 3-4, 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, depending on the game week. So as you can see there, I can afford to do it, and I've got 0 money left in my budget. Alright, so I've got 0 money there left in my budget, but I really like this team. I like it that much, I'm going to go and take a damn photo of it in a second. But look, that's what I want. I want a team that looks like this. I think this is my early draft. If I had to pick one now, and it was Saturday, and it was about to be 5 minutes before lockout, and I knew all these players were fit, this is the team I think I'm taking. And if I really wanted to, I could play bench boost in the next couple of weeks after it. A lot of these teams have really good fixtures over the short term. And then I can bank a couple of transfers if it doesn't go quite well. Because the other idea was that, if I didn't go the Isaac and I went the João Pedro instead, that could then mean, I'm just going to show you what this would mean. So bear with me while I do this. So instead of let's find João Pedro. There he is. So he's 5.4. Remember, he's almost like 3 million cheaper. So he is 3 million cheaper than Isaac, which is insane. Now, ideally, in this particular draft, I would get rid of Semenyo, and I would actually bring in, and this is why I said you can get a little bit creative with your choices. Now, it's a little bit hard to jump on board someone when they haven't played many games, which is definitely what I'll be doing here when I show you this. But if we go back to page 1 and we have a look at the midfielders on here, they don't show up on page 1. Now, originally I've wanted Saka in this draft. In order to do that, if I had Saka in this draft, as you can see there, I would need to find 1.5 million. Now, in this particular case, that probably means that Raya does not become Raya, and he becomes a 4.7 goalkeeper in the form of Sanchez. Sanchez would come in goal there, because obviously I said the Chelsea run looks really good. And then I'd need to find 0.6 million. And in this particular case, I think then that alas, it would have to be Kanate out, which saddens me, for a lower defender. Now, I'm not sure what defenders I like at 4.7. In fact, I'd probably go for a Mazraoui at the moment because he's 4.6, and I think Man United will turn around. Or I could just restore Robinson, which is probably what I'd do. I'd leave Robinson there. Obviously, if I just restored him, then I'd have 0.1 left in the bank, and that would allow me to get Saka in instead and roll with a 5 premium kind of midfield thing, but also have still quality in the defense, but just not as much quality, and not as much quality in the forward line either. Let me know in the comments what you would do, but those are the 2 different drafts I've done. Now, I have looked at the Haaland permutations. I just don't see a world where you can run a Haaland, a Palmer, a Salah, and Buemo, and a Bruno, and have your team look anything half decent. You literally have to go budget in every other position, which is doable. I just don't think it is the play. I think you're better off to spread your money around like this, because on any game week, you're going to be able to pick 7 attackers that do an amazing job that will get you the points that you require in order to boost your rank. So let me know which draft you preferred. Did you prefer me spending a bit bigger on the defense and having a budget enabler like a Semenyo in midfield, or did you prefer what I've just come up with now, where I've got the 5 premium midfielders and then I'm playing the 3 forwards? Now, the other option here is what I could have done instead, is I could have gone, instead of Saka, Odegaard. Now, in this particular case, I could then afford to keep Kanate, who would be 5.3. Let me see if I've done my math right. That's 0.7 to 1.3. And then I could have kept David Raya as well. And then I'd still have a little bit of money left in the bank. And that's without Isaac. So it really does depend on whether I go an Isaac over a João Pedro. That is the basic formulation in terms of how this draft is working. Let me know what you think. I really do want to know. And if you are new around here, please press the subscribe button. If you're also on Wildcard, send us your thing in the WhatsApp group. Join the group, and show me give me your ideas, and we'll happily debate them. But yeah, look, hopefully that's been helpful. I will be back with a differential video before I'm finished with camp, and then I'll do my proper videos for next week in my normal setup with the full wildcard edition. Then I will also be doing a live stream for Game Week 12 for the deadline day. I will be back for that. So thankfully everything will be done. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. That's been Fantasy Premier League, the D in its journey, and that has been my wildcard early draft edition. It is active, so keep that in mind, and hopefully it's helped you.